Do you have a hard time finishing your own music?
Yep.
Let's fix that. Today we're gonna go over my 5 tips to help you finish your own music and become a better producer. Let's get started. Tip number 1, have a template. Making music and finishing it is a lot easier when you have a template set up. I've gone over how I make my template in this channel before, but it still remains to be the number 1 tip I have for actually finishing music. Being organized, having everything corrected the way that you want it to, having compression and sidechain on your bass bus so that you don't have to redo it every single time. It just helps you get organized and efficient so you can stop worrying about having to group everything up later and you can just get working on other stuff. Tip number 2, Midi Clips. Every project that I open has Midi Clips already arranged so I can see the entirety of the track. There's nothing worse than being stuck in a 4-bar death loop, having to listen to it over and over again when you can't see the big picture. So being able to set it up Midi Clips and have everything ready for me so I can see start to finish makes life a lot easier. Additionally, let's say you want to customize your own snare rolls or 16th notes, you can save those Midi clips on your own and use them whenever you want in your music. And then of course with Midi, you can just swap out the sample that you use and have it unique every single time. For instance, let's go ahead and make a snare roll. Open up a Midi track and open up a drum rack. Find a sample that you like. For instance, I found this one and I'm gonna go ahead and drop it on my drum rack. I'm gonna create a really simple 16-bar drum roll here. In the MIDI note editor, I went ahead and drew my snares. It's a 16th note snare roll. It sounds like this. Doesn't sound good, but for example, from here, of course, you can shape the snare however you want. Let's say I don't like this snare. What I can do is I can drag and drop another sample in the same spot, and voila, now we have another snare to use. Regardless, if you wanted to go ahead and save this and export it as a Midi clip, you can save it anywhere you want, and then you can keep it in your favorites and your collections and reuse it as many times as you want for any song. That way you'll always have an arrangement of MIDI notes the way that you want them to, so you don't have to waste time writing them the next time. Tip number 3, default audio and MIDI tracks. I have it set up in Ableton so that every single time I open up an audio track or a MIDI track, it will automatically input my favorite effect rack that I made personally. But you can do this with any plugin, any audio effect whatsoever. If you right click on an audio track and you see at the bottom, save as default audio track, that'll mean that every single time I open up an audio track, you can see it, it's right there. Now in this case, I use my own effect rack. It has all of the plugins and general stock Ableton plugins that I use most regularly, from an EQ to a reverb to an extended reverb to an overdrive. Because I use those so frequently, it's easier for me to see it all in one cute little rack than it is for me to go into audio effects and have to go searching for it every single time. Tip number 4. Use loops for inspiration. Using loops to inspire you is really important. Sometimes writing a bass line is near to impossible because you don't know what you're in the mood for. But using a sample bass loop can help you kind of gather some ideas in order to figure out what direction you want to go in. This is particularly useful in the realm of tech house because you could have a more hard driving bass with some resonance, or you can have kind of like a rolling bass that doesn't sound too exciting, but it's a constant bass line all throughout the track. A great sample pack that I love to use for this is Mark Knight's Trademark Sample Pack Volume 5. He has a really wide variety of samples to choose from, all that have different sounds and vibes to them. So if you didn't know what kind of bass line you want to write, we could pick literally any bass line whatsoever, give it a sense of like, oh, what does this sound like? Okay, that one's not too intense. I could recreate that in Serum if I wanted to. What about this one? That's a single note, that's hard driving. Okay, I kind of like that. I'll go make it in Serum. Tip number 5, don't waste too much time on one track. In my history of making music since 2017 now, I probably have amassed maybe 3,000 plus Ableton projects in the course of my lifetime. Since I started producing music, only 47 of those songs have been released publicly on Spotify. That is a very, very small percentage of released music. But without all of the previous tracks that I've spent time on, learning, adapting, coming up with new ideas, I wouldn't have been able to release those tracks. Not every track is going to be a hit, no matter how much you want it to be. Sometimes the tracks that you don't think are hits are the ones that actually come out on top. My point in saying this is, if you spend too much time on one track, you won't necessarily allow yourself to come up with bigger and better ideas if you waste time and money and energy on one project alone. The difference is, however, if you really like a song and you finished it, great. Sit on it for a couple of weeks, then come back to it. In the meantime, you should be working on other things versus the chances of you having a creative, successful song. If you spend 2 weeks on it, you'll probably get tired of listening to it and get burnt out on it. And then you'll start to doubt it, and then you'll forget about it, and then it'll never see the light of day. I really hope you guys like this video. If you have any suggestions as to what you want me to cover next, don't hesitate to comment down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And if you want more personalized content in terms of the more in-depth look of how I make music, don't forget to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/foxedofficial, where you can see all of that content coming out in the next couple of months. I will see you guys in the next one.